Hello, and welcome to part 2 of my story. I am Sarah Wagner, an intuitive success coach. I support female entrepreneurs in creating the energetic and spiritual foundation that their business is craving so that they can enjoy that ease and flow and grace that they know is totally possible. So today, as I share this part of my story, it's the harder part of my story for me because it's just a reminder of kind of the painful moments that I went through. And I have a tendency to want to rush through it and skip over it. So normally I try to do my videos where I'm just sharing with you authentically, unscripted. But today I had to have some notes. So if you notice me pausing and looking over here, I'll try to tell you too, this is what I'm doing. That's all it is. I want to make sure that I share it with you. I don't want to skip over it because it's a reminder of something painful. Because I think it's important, and I think that there's some of you out there who are going to relate to these parts, whether you're experiencing it right now or you've experienced it at some point on your journey into entrepreneurship. So as I said, this is part 2. There was a part 1, obviously, that's already on this YouTube channel, so feel free to go and watch that first. If you hadn't seen it, it shares with you how I got into coaching. Today, what I want to share with you is about that first 16 months going into coaching. So I dove into it head first, totally excited, went into a certification program that I did from, I started that about 2 months after, and that was 11 months long. So you can see it's really the bulk of these 16 months that we're talking about here. I was in that certification program that was also teaching me how to get myself online, get my business out there online. So email marketing and social media, building a website, those sort of things that a lot of us don't come into entrepreneurship already knowing, but have to learn. And I was doing all of this, as I'm sure many of you mothers can relate to, with small children. When I first started, I had a 1 and 2-year-old, and of course continued to grow from there. So by the time that this 16 months was done, I think Ella was 3 by then, and I don't know if Austin was quite 2 yet. Yeah, he must have been if he was already 1, right? Because I do math. So anyway, I will be sharing today and be looking over at my notes, but what I want to share with you is about those 16 months and about how I went into these 16 months, just assuming that this was going to be easy. I thought that it was going to be just amazing, that I was going to be bringing in all this money and that I was going to be working with all of these awesome clients, and I was just going to be this huge success story, because my whole life until this point I had been a huge success story. Everything that I had tried, I had done well at. I went to school. One of my examples in my blog is how I went to school. I graduated early from high school, and then I went into college and I graduated with a double major, finance and economics, in just three years. I was about to say 3 semesters, not 3 semesters. I'm not that much of a genius. And, I'm not sharing all of this to brag. I'm sharing this because I want you to know, I want you to understand the level of goal setting, people pleasing, type A perfectionist that I was. When I was asked to do something, or when I thought that I needed to do something to gain someone's approval or love, I did it, and I did it with flying colors. And part of that too is I am a manifestor according to human design, and we kind of have a knack for flying through things once we set our mind to it. But anyway, I thought that coaching was going to be the same. I thought that if I could find someone out there that could just show me the formula for success, that could just tell me, if you do this, this, and this, it'll create a client. And if you do this, this, and this, it'll create 10 clients. You know what I mean? I thought that that's how my life had worked until this point. A plus B equals C. And if you can just tell me what A and B are, I will give you C, no problem. And it just didn't turn out to be that way. For myself and probably any entrepreneur, because I really feel like entrepreneurship is just this way. It's A, B, C, right? It's non-linear. It's just these parts of a puzzle that you have to figure out how to put together so that you get the outcome you're desiring. And that was really, really challenging for me because I didn't know what to do from nothing, if that makes sense. So in the past, I had always done the thing like gotten the A from the teacher, but the teacher had told me how to get the A, right? They had said, here's my expectations for you, and then I met the expectations. Well, I went into entrepreneurship, and all of a sudden, I had no one's expectations but my own, and I didn't know how to put all the pieces together. And it turned into a lot of overwhelm. And I want to just pause and see where I'm at here in my notes, and just make sure that I'm not skipping over anything here. Yeah. So feeling like I had failed at entrepreneurship because I couldn't figure out that success formula and I was just trying to keep myself above water, it was really hard for me to go anywhere, to go to parties where people knew that I had quit my job and then I'd switched into coaching and they were asking me how was it going. And there was like this mindset part of me that was like, Sarah, don't speak into existence that you're struggling with this. But then there was this other part of me that was like, well, I can't stand here and tell them business is going great when I feel like complete and total shit. I feel like a huge failure. My marriage isn't doing well because I'm so grumpy and anxious and depressed and all of the feelings all of the time because I'm trying to do too many things at once. I'm not doing well with my children because I feel frustrated, right? I feel like if I'm taking care of them, if I'm focusing on them, even in a happy way, like playing with them and loving them, that it's taking time away from my business. And when I take time away from my business, how can I be successful, right? So I'm like stuck in this place where nothing is working for me because I've got this focus on creating this business and the business isn't working. So my ego is just totally lit up at this point and just bruised, just beaten down. And I'm totally struggling. And all the while I'm seeing all these other coaches that I've met online or that went through the certification program with me. And it seems like everyone is doing a fabulous job, right? Like I'm seeing their social media profiles. I'm starting to see their ads pull up on Facebook. I had to go to my graduation ceremony and watch some of them get awards for how much money they had earned in the year. Like all these other things, it just felt like everybody was that 6 figures and 6 months coach except for me. And it was like, why? Why not me? The jealousy and the envy set in even though I didn't want to be that person. I couldn't help but feel that way because it was like, I didn't understand it, right? Like I told you at the beginning of this video, from the beginning of my life, I had succeeded at everything I had done. And I wasn't succeeding here, at least by my own standards. And I was really, really struggling with that. And so I just wanted to run away, honestly. That was my solution. My solution wasn't to dive deeper into this. It was like, if I could just run away, if I could just exist on some sunny Caribbean island that left to myself, I could do this all, right? If I didn't have my husband to bother me, if I didn't have my kids to need from me all the time, if I didn't have to deal with the stress of creating money and I could just live off of the earth, and right, like I just had to escape. But I knew that wasn't possible. I knew at some point I was going to have to face the fact that I had sunk tens of thousands of dollars into this. And maybe sunk isn't the right word, but that is definitely how I felt at the time. That I was just completely in over my head. And those around me that were close to me and that really knew what was going on with me, some of them were starting to say, okay, well, when do we call it quits? When is enough enough? When do you go back to work? You always have your job at the Arsenal because you have your seniority is the word that's coming to my mind. I know that's not the correct term for it. But anyway, like I just had these people around me going, it's okay to give up. You tried. You did your best, Sarah. And it wasn't from, well, let's just say it was from a place of love. They wanted to rescue me from these hard times and from these hard emotions that I was feeling. But I couldn't be rescued by anyone but myself. Because coaching was my dream. Coaching was everything I had thrown myself into. I totally knew it was where I was meant to be at this point in my life. And I had to make it happen. I had to figure out what was the key to this. And that's what I want to share with you in part 3 of this video series. I want to share with you my turning point of when I went from struggling and crying and resistance and just all of this tension in my life to finally turning a corner and starting to see that dream come into my reality. So join me for part 3.